Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David, and I'm joined by my little friend, Palo Santo. Do a little bit of cleansing on the room, especially with this reading. Okay, so we're going to start off. Who here has heard about the Young Republicans group chat? Who here knows the details about it? If this is kind of new or you've read the headlines but haven't delved into what's going on, here's what's going on. There was a group chat involving many members, sort of like the executive members of a group known as the Young Republicans. This is a group that tries to recruit young people to the Republican Party through conservative values, and the group targets people between the ages of 18 and 40. I think it was Politico received about 2,300 pages of text messages from this large group text that the Republicans had. And to say that the text messages were repulsive is an understatement. Here in this Politico article that I have here, and I'll have a link in the description, here are some of the quotes that they sort of clipped from the text message. Everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. Also, we are officially under consideration for a Trump endorsement. I'm ready to watch people burn now. Great. I love Hitler. I'd go to the zoo if I wanted to watch a monkey play ball. If this chat ever leaked, we would be cooked. For real, for real. Everyone that endorsed but then votes for us is going to get gas chambered. Stay in the closet, FAGGOT. That girl is fully R, which is rhymed with draped, with an extra D on it. They love the watermelon people. He also hates the Jews. You know, this is what's in this text message group. Now, J.D. Vance was asked about that, and he was on the Charlie Kirk show. I guess he was hosting it, and he went on he went on the Charlie Kirk show and basically said that he was dismissing the outrage over these leaked posts as pearl clutching. He said that he will encourage his kids, especially our boys, to be careful of what they post in group chats and on the internet, because they should assume that, quote, some scumbag is going to leak it in an effort to try to cause you harm or cause your family harm. But the reality is that kids do stupid things, especially young boys. They tell edgy, offensive jokes, like that's what kids do. And I really don't want us to grow up in a country where a kid telling a stupid joke, telling a very offensive stupid joke, is cause to ruin their lives. Now, please note, nowhere in there did he denounce what they wrote. Did he say that what they wrote was horrible, terrible, outrageous, they should be embarrassed, they should apologize, they should own it, they should suffer consequences for it? No, he did the exact opposite. Other than saying a very offensive, stupid joke, and that's probably from the recipient's point of view, he basically just said boys will be boys, and they should be forgiven for that. Now, again, let's see, later on in this article, Vance says, at some point, we're all going to have to say enough of this BS. We're not going to allow the worst moment in a 20-year-old's group chat to ruin a kid's life for the rest of time. That's just not okay. We're not canceling kids because they do something stupid in a group chat. Yeah, well, we didn't grow up with group chats, did we? Yes, and a lot of the embarrassing, stupid stuff that we said as kids never got put out for the world to see. But you know what? These people grew up with chats, and they know this stuff gets put out. And the other thing is basically representing them as 20-year-old young kids. First off, 21 years old, that's an adult in this country, JD. In case you didn't know, you can vote, you can drink, you can serve the military and go to war at 21. And some of those things you can do at 18. Here are some of the people that were on the group chat. Peter Giunta, he's 31 years old. Former chair of the New York State Young Republicans, Giunta was the most prominent voice in the group chat spreading racist messages, often encouraged or liked by other members. He served as the chief of staff for New York State Assemblyman Mike Riley's office, where he worked for more than 5 years. One of the great quotes Peter threw out there was, "I love Hitler." 21, huh? And he's 31. Bobby Walker. We don't know his age. Mother Jones actually did. I started doing Google searches, and then I found a Mother Jones article that also had ages on it. So some of these ages are from Mother Jones. Bobby Walker, age unknown. He took over as the chair of the New York State Young Republicans after Giunta resigned last month. For much of that time that the text messages span, Walker served as the vice chair of the organization. In the political story, Walker is reported to have reported rape as epic, so he thinks rape is epic, and used the homophobic slur the F word, rhymes with maggot, throughout the chat. But he was also, funnily enough, the group's main target for the same epithet. So people would call him that, I suppose. In one instance, he also talked about a friend who dated this very obese Indian woman for a period of time, precipitating a discussion on relying on racist stereotypes. He's also the one that wrote, if this chat was ever leaked, we would be cooked FRFR, which stands for real for real. So he knew what they were saying was offensive. He knew it could be leaked, and he knew that if it got leaked, they would suffer consequences for it. But they did it anyway. Samuel, again, we don't know his age. Samuel L. Douglas is 27 years old, and he's a state senator from northern Vermont, and he heads the state's Young Republicans. And he's the only elected official in the group chat, but hey, you got an elected official in there. He actually responded to the story about the very obese Indian woman after Giunta pushed back saying the woman was not Indian. Douglas added, she just didn't bathe often, implying that her skin tone was due to dirt. Douglas made another comment about a Jewish colleague potentially making a procedural mistake, and his wife, Breonna Douglas, Vermont's National Young Republicans Committee member, who was also on the chat, responded that giving the Jewish colleague too much credit and you're expecting the Jew to be honest. William Hendrick, age 24, one of the younger people on here. He liked to use lots of variations of the N-word. He also was invoked racist stereotypes describing black people. I'm assuming, bro was at a chicken restaurant ordering his food. Would you like some watermelon or Kool-Aid with that? He was a communication assistant for Kansas City Attorney General Chris Kobach. Michael Bartels, age unknown. He's the only member known to work for the Trump administration. He was a senior advisor to the Office of General Counsel for the U.S. Small Business Administration. He didn't have much to say, but he also didn't push back on the offensive rhetoric either. So that's kind of one of those ones where if you see something, you need to say something or get off the group chat. Alex Dwyer, age 29. That could be mistaken for 21. Kansas City Young Republicans chair. When Dwyer, when Giunta said, "Great, I love Hitler," Dwyer put a little smiley face emoji, because who doesn't put a smiley face emoji after somebody says, "I love Hitler"? Another woman, Ann K. Katie, she's the New York's National Committee member and was also Giunta's girlfriend. In a conversation about sending political opponents to the gas chambers, K. Katie reported that, "I'm ready to watch these people burn now." Doesn't want to wait. Joe Maligno, age 35. He's a general counsel for the New York State Young Republicans. In the same conversation, he reportedly wrote, "Can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic." Hilarious. Luke Moisman, age 24, from Arizona Young Republicans. He mused about linking a political opponent to a white supremacist group putting out pro-Nazi propaganda. But then he backtracked, suggesting Kansas Young Republicans might end up liking that opponent more. And then Rachel Hope, age unknown, responded to that comment saying, "Oh my God, I love this plan." She reacted to other text messages in the chat. These are not 18-year-olds, JD. They're, at least the ones at ages that we can find, they're 24 to 35. And they have prominent roles in the Republican Party. Not only that, they're in executive roles in the Young Republicans. This is who they are. Let's look. Sorry, long intro, but let's look at the. The reason for the long intro, it kind of illustrates how J.D. Vance lies so smoothly. He's talking about. He says reasonable things like, let's not ruin a young person's life over something stupid they put in a group chat. Sure, we can agree that young people do stupid things, but these young people are 24, 25 to 35 years old. These young people are in positions of leadership in the Young Republicans organization. Many of these individuals work in politics for their state or for the federal government. One guy's a freaking lawyer. These are not naive country bumpkins that stumbled into a briar patch of a den of villainy, to steal quotes from Star Wars. And J.D. Vance, he lied. He knows he lied. He just lies so smoothly, and if you don't fact check him, you don't find out the details. Hence why I'm sharing the details with you. Not that anybody here would believe J.D. Vance anyways. But if the one stray MAGA actually made it to the 10-minute mark, understand J.D. Vance, he's a slime ball. He's terrible. But anyways, come on down. And this is for entertainment purposes only now. We've now reported the news and the facts behind the news. Now let's go to the energy around these young Republican techs. Spirit, what can you tell us about what's going on here? Ace of Pentacles. I don't think it's about money. I think this is an opportunity. This is a way that it exposes the values that these people have. And the values that the young Republicans are trying to impress upon other young members in that group. Again, ages 18 to 40. Crossed with the Ten of Swords. And by having those views exposed, brought out into the light, the views that were closeted, that Donald Trump made comfortable to bring out in the light, it's actually going to be the undoing, not only of these people in the leadership roles, but of the opinion of the young Republicans. You may not have had a strong opinion before, but now you're going to have people that maybe aren't racist like that, maybe are conservative, won't want to be associated with that organization. Doesn't mean they won't vote Republican, but they won't join this organization because they don't want to be linked to white supremacists. In the past, the Nine of Swords, I think probably they got a heads up. I'm sure they got a heads up that this story was coming. And now it's like, oh my God, what type of damage control can we do here? These are people working at their worst. Again, behaviors that used to be in the shadows that Trump normalized, and now they're out there. Current situation is the World card. For some of these people, this will be the end of their political career. For others, they will be toxic for a while. They're going to have to find something else to do. Additionally, it kind of encapsulates the rise of fasci, pro-Nazi, Christian nationalism that is occurring throughout the world. This is not unique to the United States. This is happening everywhere, as we've seen. It's not just a U.S. problem, it's a worldwide problem. Overarching energy is the Five of Wands. Okay, so the leaking of this is going to cause a kerfuffle. It's going to cause leadership changes. It's going to put this organization into some chaos. So whatever type of recruiting and stuff like that, these text messages is going to be disruptive to that. It'll probably be disruptive for a while because the reputation is going to be very damaged, and you may not be able to get that reputation back. Certainly not on the short term. Lesson to be learned is the Nine of Cups. The vibe I get from that one is the, rules for thee, not for me type of thing. Like, this is the Republican values. This is what the young Republicans value. This is what Trump has put out there. And this is them sitting quite smugly thinking that nothing will touch them. But you shouldn't have been so smug. Hopes, wishes, dreams fulfilled is usually the thing that you want with this one. But I think your hopes, wishes, and dreams are destroyed by something like this. Outcome. Why? Because everything got exposed. It exposes these folks for who they are. Imagine them, any one of these people, and I know at least one of them ran for political office. I believe one of them was running for city council when he was 20 years old. This is now going to follow them. It's going to follow them for a while. Maybe not the rest of their lives, but you can't unring the bell. Especially for Mr. Junta that says, I love Hitler. Oh, that one's not going anywhere. You know what I mean? That one's not going anywhere. If the lawyer says, can we fix the showers, gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic, that's not going anywhere. How difficult is it to say that I don't support Nazis, I don't support Hitler? That's not a difficult thing to say, J.D. Vance can't say it. Donald Trump would never say it. He'd say Hitler was misunderstood, that he was falsely accused by the fake news, and that type of thing. Victim of a witch hunt. Seems to identify with the guy quite a bit, actually, doesn't he? For the folks mentioned in this article, many of them, by the way, have lost their positions. The political candidates they worked for have fired them. I don't think I saw anybody here. If in the article they said they were fired from their jobs. I don't know if all of them have been fired from all their jobs or whatnot, but many of them did lose positions. I just can't prove one way or another because we don't get to that level of detail in Google now, do we? But I'm curious, what is the consequences for these folks because of this chat? Page of Cups. Well, MAGA will love them. But it's kind of, young people with stupid ideas and just, they're gonna reek. They're toxic. King of Swords, facing the consequences of your actions. Ongoing stuff. This may not be the only thing that happens to them. King of Cups, need to grow the hell up. Tough messaging, grow the hell up. And, this is an opportunity. Interestingly enough, look at the Kings here. 3 Kings cards. This is the opportunity to change. You were in a position of authority and leadership, and you acted like... J.D. Vance wasn't wrong when he says 18-year-olds screw up, and we shouldn't expect a 21-year-old to always be perfect. They're going to mess up. But the problem is these guys are much older than 21 and in leadership positions. But you're acting like a child in leadership positions. God, does that not sound like many members of the Republican Party these days? Grow the hell up. Stop being so immature. You have responsibilities that you're taking care of, and you're going to be held to those responsibilities. And I think they will have additional opportunities later on, probably with the Wheel of Fortune. Opportunities will be lost now, but there may be opportunities later for them. But how do you redeem yourself? Maybe that Wheel of Fortune means you don't get to have any more opportunities. This is kind of the card of karma. This is what you get. King of Swords. You wrote it, you suffer the punishment for it. King of Cups. Be mature. Be more mature next time. Understand your role as a leader. Your actions, King of Wands, your actions have consequences. Nobody forced you to do that. You thought the thing was going to be private. I know at work, we have to be we get training every year on this about being careful what we say in emails, because anything we say, if a lawsuit comes at us, our emails can be used as evidence against us. So you have to be careful what you put out there. These guys, they didn't care. They didn't care. There's just there is an immaturity, a selfishness, but it's not a selfishness due to their age, it's due to their values. What's the long-term consequence on the collective with the exposure of this group chat? In other words, now that we know the young Republicans are filled with a bunch of Nazis who hate Jews and blacks and other minorities and think that rape is epic, how does that affect the collective? What do we have here? Decisions, Two of Swords, decisions and choices to be made about the maturity. Elect a clown, expect a circus type of thing. Unserious people versus mature people. Page of Swords. Why are you selecting the young, stupid people that don't know what they're doing? And I don't mean the Page of Swords should be young and stupid, but these are the underdeveloped brain types. And it's kind of like a lot of the Republican mindset is very ego-driven, very lizard brain stuff. It works on fear and selfishness. And that's fight, flight, freeze type thing. It's all lizard brain stuff, your basic brain core. And it takes, to have empathy and things like that. That's higher brain functions. And right now, these people are they're trolls. Not enlightened, just selfish. Young and selfish. How does this affect the collective? Seven of Coins. Evaluate who's in your circle. Evaluate your values. Who should be in your tribe? Who should be removed from your tribe? Who doesn't serve you? Current situation is the Ten of Coins, the legacy. We're at a decision point in this country whether we're going to go down a white supremacist, Christian nationalist, fascist country, or if we're going to go with a country that takes care, that is judged by how it treats the most vulnerable of its citizenry. Overarching energy is the Five of Swords. There's no compromise in this. There's no, we can tolerate some bigotry. We can tolerate some racism. We can tolerate some fascism here. No, you really can't. This is the tolerance paradox embodied right here. You cannot tolerate poor behavior like that. You've got to kick that stuff out. But you know what? And if the fascists get in power, they're going to go for full power. So you've got to go, if you're going for the power on this one, you got to go all in with your values. Lesson to be learned is the Eight of Cups. And this might involve walking away from people. This is the cancel culture card. If people don't fit your morals, your ethics, it's time to leave. I've lost a number of friends over the last 10 years. And it's not over politics. It's over ethics. It's over values. People that I saw my best traits in, turns out they never had those best traits. It's just something that I saw in them what I have in myself. And for better or for worse, assign them those same values. But deep down inside, they didn't have them. I miss my friends. I wish them well. But they can't be in my life. Many of you have friends like that, and many more have relatives like that. You know what I'm talking about. What's the outcome of this text message on a society here? The Empress card. Lazy, entitled. You have the choice of being lazy, entitled, which is that whole selfishness here. I know I've got the laws put towards me so I can take what I want and screw the other guy. They can leave if they don't like it. Or you make sure, as I mentioned earlier about the best of nations, they're judged by how well do they treat the most vulnerable in their society. The Empress, in her highest energy, is a woman of abundance who makes sure that everybody has enough. She's truly the alpha in the pack. She makes sure that the selfish ones aren't being selfish to the point where the ones in need are without, because selfish people are taking too much. She makes sure everybody has enough. And I think on that uplifting note, we will leave it here. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.